Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE News, episode number 350. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Brandon Odge here. I just want to say before I jump into this episode of WWE News, if you're brand new to the channel, go ahead and make sure you subscribe and turn on the push notification, little bell guy thingy, to know when I upload another amazing video. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this juicy episode of WWE News and Rumors. Alright, the first news story, okay, this is insane. This is the only news story, as usual, for some reason. I don't know what it is, where I like to separate the show and just do, like, these are things that have been confirmed, that are, like, legitimate, and these are things that are rumored. I know a lot of other wrestling shows kind of mix it up, but for me, I like to keep it separate. But in the result of that, sometimes there's only one news story. But anyway, this one is about, I don't know what to say, about Saudi Arabia, I guess. So what happened in Saudi Arabia when the wrestlers were reportedly held hostage by the Saudi Arabian government? So this is kind of revealed, this is something from last November, I believe. So, I mean, this is way out. But, you know, they've released some wrestlers who were there. They've released them via, you know, this whole pandemic thing. There were budget cuts. They had to cut people back and kind of, you know, release people. So some wrestlers have came out. We have no idea who this specific one is, but this specific one has joined a lawsuit against WWE for it. So apparently this person has said, and this person reportedly worked for WWE since 2012, and they got released. So we can kind of do the math and figure out who it is. But they basically said they were on the plane. The plane was not taking off, so they asked, you know, the flight attendant, the whatever, and she said, it seems like someone doesn't want us to leave the country, which is concerning. So this person gets on the phone with Mark Carano, you know, one of the head guys over at WWE, and he's like, what's going on? Why can't we leave Saudi? He's like, oh, yeah, there's some kind of big fight between the Saudi Arabian prince and Vince about money and not being paid, and Vince cutting their show in Saudi, like the show like they were watching on television. He cut the stream where they couldn't watch it anymore. So basically, the Saudi Arabian prince made a decision not to let the wrestlers leave the country via this argument, which is horrible. So and apparently WWE wrestlers were forced to stay quiet about this. And if they said anything, they were threatened with being fired. So I mean, there's a decent lawsuit here, I do have to say. Like, putting your wrestlers through something like that and making them not say anything. Apparently, there were Saudi Arabian military people and with like giant guns and everything, and everyone was scared, and it was a hostage situation. But you know, no one did get hurt. It wasn't like a giant thing where they were like a hostage situation where they just have guns pointed at them. It's not like that. It's basically they just had to go back to the hotel and wait another day before they could leave. But still, it's a messed up situation, especially to be forced to stay quiet about that. But this wrestler has joined a class action lawsuit against WWE for it, and I think they want to rename like Nameless. So they worked for WWE since 2012 and just were released. So we can kind of do the math of who that was if we really care. But the important part here is there's actually a lawsuit about this entire situation happening now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that was actually the only confirmed news story I had to talk to you guys about today. And don't you dare go anywhere, because the video is about to get really good, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to use my catchphrase, which is on a t-shirt, on a juice box, available on the Brandon Odge merchandise store for those interested. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all the news stories, and now we're going to talk about some juicy rumors. Alright, the first rumor is about AJ Styles. So AJ Styles is now on SmackDown. Apparently they just did that for like a kind of a ratings thing. And this is a rumor. This could not be true. It could be true. But the rumor is basically saying AJ Styles was very unhappy backstage on Raw because he had a lot of apparently disagreements with Paul Heyman about creative and stuff like that. Also, he didn't really get along with too many people backstage to do with, I guess, his political views and kind of his conspiracy or whatever, and didn't get along and was made fun of and picked on for that a lot. He didn't really like being backstage at Raw too much. Apparently things are better at SmackDown, and he enjoys being on SmackDown better, so, I mean, that's good. I mean, they did fire his friends who were on Raw with him, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, so, I mean, that didn't help. But apparently he's a lot happier in SmackDown, so, I mean, hopefully the move for SmackDown is a good business decision, and it sounds like it was a good, like, personal decision, and like, it's better for him, so that's wonderful. Alright, the next rumor. This one is concerning to see this headline. So, let me just come out and say it. Edge is injured. So Yeah, it's just horrible. So Edge got injured in the match against Randy Orton, the greatest wrestling match in history. I mean, they put on an amazing show. But just to live up to that name, I don't even know why they would put that title on a name. It's just impossible to go up to that. But basically, that was a wonderful match. But somewhere in the match, Edge actually got injured. Don't worry, it's not like his neck or anything. It's nothing to do with that. It's actually his tricep. I don't know how severe it is. I don't know how long he's going to be out. But Edge was actually injured in the greatest wrestling match in history, which when you put on a match that long and just go back and forth and just push the limits of what you should be doing, especially with no crowd or anything, or just for a pay-per-view like Backlash, something's bad is just like bound to happen when you just push yourself too hard for, a cause that's not really, worth it. It was wonderful, but it just, I feel like that was the original plan for SummerSlam, and they kind of just pulled it back to Backlash just to kind of give a little more excitement, but I don't think they should have done that. I think they should have just waited, because Backlash is just kind of a filler pay-per-view, and it's just, I just feel like they should have waited for SummerSlam on that. All right, the next rumor. The next rumor is about the WWE brand split. So the WWE brand split, as we all know what it is, we should. There's specific wrestlers who are on Raw, specific wrestlers who are on SmackDown. Technically, they're not supposed to cross and be on each other's shows, but now we have the wild card, wonderful rule, and apparently limiting that to like 4 appearances. If they do more than 4 appearances, then they just get drafted to the other show, I guess. But apparently, they're ending the brand split. Now, this is just way out there rumor. It's just being considered right now, and it's probably just going to be until we can get back to a live crowd and get things a little more exciting, a little better. And it does look like we're getting towards a live crowd. A lot of states are opening back up. They're in like, to be honest with you, I'm not too into the whole thing. They're like phase 3 or something. I don't know. I'm not terribly into the entire deal. Because, it's just like everywhere and it gets overwhelming at a certain point. You just want to focus on things outside of, the pandemic and just kind of focus on things that aren't so crazy. But anyway, the brand split could be ending until the pandemic. It looks like crowds can be coming back around SummerSlam time, so it will only end for like a month. So is it even worth doing if they're just going to go back to a brand split? Or maybe the brand split will be over entirely. But it's something, reportedly, backstage is being discussed with WWE right now and Vince, and he's deciding if he wants to do that. So it's entirely possible that the brand split could be over. Alright, let's jump into the final news story, the final rumor, the final thing I'll be talking about inside of this WWE news video. So tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, a lot of you probably watching this during Raw or after Raw, because I'm probably uploading this video at 5 p.m., and Raw starts at 8 p.m. And I'm just talking Eastern time. That time may not reflect where you live, but where I live, that's the way it is. So I have a 3-hour window before Raw. So if you click on this video, before Raw, that's wonderful. And this is the way the video was intended to be watched. But basically, about Raw tonight, there's been, I don't know what it is. So there's been a source inside of WWE who has said that tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw is going to have a very, very big surprise. And as for giant surprises, I'm not really for them right now until we get a crowd back. I mean, people are not tuning into WWE like they used to. They're not attentive to WWE. They're not, inside of that thing. Not a lot of people even watching the episodes of Raw and SmackDown live anymore. There's not a crowd there to react to it. I mean, just everything's down across the world. It's not just WWE, it's just everything. It's even my YouTube videos. I mean, they're freaking down because my videos are based on WWE. If WWE's product is down, then my product is down. But basically, tonight's episode of Raw is going to have a giant surprise. We don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be an actual surprise. I was hoping they would announce, this is just me personally, this has nothing to do with any sources or anything. Just me personally, I was hoping they would announce a deal about SummerSlam. Like, what's happening with SummerSlam? Where is SummerSlam going to be? Can crowds go? Where do I buy tickets? I would like that information. But I think, just thinking about it, I think they may just do a social media post about that. I don't think it's just going to be like a giant surprise for Raw. There's been a lot of crazy, I don't even know what to say, conspiracy theories. There's been a lot of theories about what is happening on tonight's Raw. And none of them use my theory that's a SummerSlam announcement. But a lot of people have said that maybe it's something to do with The Undertaker. But again, is The Undertaker going to do something with no crowd in the middle of a pandemic? I don't know. Some people, of course, go to the whole CM Punk thing. But is CM Punk going to make his return with no crowd, that would really upset me if that did happen. Or, I mean, what could it be? Christian facing Orton now? It's a giant surprise. Is that giant enough? I don't know. So I have no clue. No one really has a clue. We're just going to wait and see on tonight's Raw. But I'm excited for it to see what it is. I don't know if it's going to be first thing or if they're going to make us wait until like the third hour of Raw to know what it is. But we will see tonight, guys. But give me your theories down below. What do you guys think this giant surprise on Raw could be tonight? Is it like Cookie Monster facing Elmo or something? I don't know. It could be literally anything. Give me your best theories down below. I'll be excited to go down there and see them. So there you guys have it. That's going to do it for this episode of WWE News and Rumors. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to give this video a like. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on the push little notification bell thing to be notified. That's absolutely free. But thanks for watching, guys. I won't waste too much more of your day, but thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm Brandon Hodge, and I will see you guys in the next video.